Welcome to Women in the Know, where we discuss everything from politics and policy to relationships and marketing. We discuss problems with franchisees and franchisors. And today we are discussing community and why it is so important to have community, particularly for women. And Rebecca, this harkens back to our interview with Jane Plitt about Martha Matilda Harper. And her relationship with her community as she moved throughout her business.
Yeah, community was so important, both for Jane Plitt and for Martha Matilda Harper. And Jane was very clear in the community that she was creating, like-minded men and women who were on a mission to create fairness and justice and opportunity for all. So she kind of was very particular about what organization she was in. And her community allowed her to be bold, where by herself maybe she couldn't be as bold. And then Martha Matilda similarly was good at building community and then leveraging the talents, the skills, and the connections that she had. So this whole topic of community for you and I, of course, is a big one, is so valuable, especially as women. We long for it, we need it, it empowers us, it inspires us, it edifies us. And, especially during this time when we're all sort of apart and miles and all we have is Zoom and other, contraptions like that, community has become even more important. So to me, it is vital for the health and well-being and the success of a woman to build strong community around herself.
Well, I think it is. And in terms of Martha Matilda, how do you think, you had talked to me a little bit earlier about her being powerless and finding ways to use other people's power?
Yeah. You know what? I love the Martha Matilda story because she was a servant from age 7, and then for a couple of decades she was a servant. She understood she was powerless in a society of class, right? That she was poor, she was uneducated, she was acting in a servant way, and yet she ended up building a franchise of 500 hair salons. So what was fascinating to me was she actually knew how to use the sense of being small and powerless to, in a clever way, leverage the clout, the status, the title, the money of others to ultimately build her own empire. She was not afraid to be weak. She was not afraid to be powerless. She, in turn, knew she had to go sometimes to men and ask for help, and to congressmen, and to lawyers, and to wealthy women. She understood that her humility, right, which I think is a sword in and of itself. It's a powerful force. When we are humble and we understand that we are small, then those that are mighty oftentimes come and help us. So this humility and this lack of arrogance is the very thing that allowed her then to have resources available to her that she couldn't have gotten on her own, money being one of those things. So I thought she was incredibly clever, and of course her humility ultimately ended up paying off in spades.
It did. And I think another way of looking at it too is that knowledge and ability to see where she could leverage that made her powerful. She chose the relationships that empowered her. She might not have had the money, but she found someone who did. She might not have been a man who could speak in a business world, so she found a lawyer who would argue for her. She found the people. And to me, I think when you're feeling powerless or you're feeling disenfranchised and you come from a servant's background, the ability to build that community made her incredibly powerful. So yes. I think it's an interesting thing to find ways outside of your own circumstances to succeed.
Right. And then she, in turn, by leveraging this community, these relationships where she was, in many ways, a subordinate or the
Mhm.
lesser, she learned how to leverage those and learn from those. She learned almost through osmosis in many ways. And then what was fascinating to me as Jane Plitt told the story of Martha Matilda Harper was she in turn then empowered those that were poor. The first 100 franchisees or women salon owners were indeed poor women that didn't have opportunity. And so she took this community, these connections, and what she had learned, and then shared it with others so they could be brought up to another level of success and well-being and connection that they couldn't do on their own. So it's kind of the one hand up and one hand down kind
Mhm.
of idea. She knew she had to reach up and ask for help, but she also at the same time was reaching down to help others.
Absolutely. And I think that is what makes her heroic. I think she wasn't just in it for herself, and I think this is one of the huge values of community is she benefited from the community that was a level higher than where she was, or
Mhm.
multiple levels. But she empowered an entire community of women who never thought they would have any kind of
Mhm.
power or stability or economic benefit from their own hard work, because they could have been
Right.
very hardworking women who didn't have that opportunity to make money, and she gave that to them. And to me, um, when you have an advantage or a benefit that she created that for herself, but you also use it to empower the women who were where you were, who are still
Yeah.
where you were. That to me is a heroic action.
She is indeed a hero. There's no doubt. And so many powerful lessons that we can learn from her as women, that it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to ask for help. It's okay to be humble. It's okay to feel powerless at some time, but look around and see who has the wisdom you need or the money you need or the clout that you need to get where you go. But don't forget those that are in lesser position, because there's always going to be. So we have to be able to receive and we have to be able to give at the same time. And she did it. I mean, she created these incredible communities around her, some of which she was on the receiving end and some of which she was on the giving end.
Oh, I love it.
Love it. I love these conversations and us looking at it, but we're kind of running out of time, so we're going to have to wrap at this point, unless you have anything else you wanted that kind of was top of mind for you as it relates to this topic of
No, I
community.
think I think ending with Martha Matilda Harper as a hero is a good place to leave
I
it.
think that's a perfect place. Yay, Martha Matilda. Thank you, Jane Plitt, for introducing us to her. And we'll see everyone on the next segment of Women in the Know.